All right, so before we get into the discussion about the accusations against Doechii and Kendrick Lamar of being industry plants, especially Doechii, in this video, I want to go through a couple of definitions. First up, freedom. And shout out to Black History Month. First definition, the condition of not being in prison or captivity. Come down to definition number 6, the condition of not being a slave. I think you can check both of those off. The rest of these get tricky though. Number 5, the condition of not being constrained or restricted in a specific aspect of life by a government or other power. Definition 3, the condition of not being controlled by another nation or political power / political independence. Number 4, the condition of not being subject to a despotic or oppressive power, civil liberty. And number 2, the condition of being free of restraints, especially the ability to act without control or interference by another or by circumstance. Now, the next definition is expression, the act of expressing, conveying, or representing in words, art, music, or movement a manifestation, something that expresses or communicates a symbol or combination of symbols that represent a quantity or a relationship between quantities. When you think quantities of people, i.e. populations, cultures, groups, etc. Which leads me to the next term, and if you watch this channel, you've seen this before, influence. A power affecting a person, thing, or course of events, especially one that operates without any direct or apparent effort. I repeat that, without any direct or apparent effort. Definition 2, power to sway or affect based on prestige, wealth, ability, or position. And 3, a person who exerts such power. An example of that is, my parents considered my friend to be a bad influence on me. My personal example would be Kendrick Lamar and Doechii's music can be a powerful influence on the communities they represent and other communities abroad. And last but not least, possess. To have as property, to have under one's power or control, and to have as a quality, characteristic, or an attribute. Now, I know that last one, possess, is a little confusing. You may not get why I'm using that one in this video, but trust me, it'll make sense real soon. Let's get into it. All the thoughts and views expressed in this video are the opinion of Professor Lex and for entertainment purposes only. Now, if you rock with the channel, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button yet. And if you're on mobile, swipe left on the comments and hit that hype button for me. So we'll simply start out by discussing why Doechii is such a problem for, it seems to be, a large group of people, so to speak. Now, the early or the easy thing is to say, well, she's a dark-skinned Black woman. But the thing is, if we really want to dive deeper, that doesn't hold a lot of weight, because if we look on the screen here, we have Kim and Foxy, both dark-skinned, brown-skinned women. Not a problem with them. If we look at this image here, sans Aaliyah on the side, rest in peace to Aaliyah always, we have Kim along with Missy and Brat, both dark chocolate, brown skin women, right? Had successful careers, no problem, not a lot of backlash either. And I know Doechii addressed this in Girl Get Up and amongst other things, pretty much everything I'm going to cover in this video. But the main problem with Doechii, or the first thing that started a problem with Doechii, is she had the nerve to say this on Hot Wings, I believe it is. Let's take a listen.
Okay, what's my biggest dating red flag? Is it being on the DL? You're on the right track. I have my answer. Is it close enough? You want to guess one more time? What would be a red flag for me? Bad music taste? Oh, that is a good one, because that's one for me. That is a good one. That's not what I mean. You don't listen to Michael Jackson. Well, okay. This is a huge red flag for me. All right. You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men.
So, in a joking manner, she expressed herself through freedom of speech, so to speak, right? And said that straight men were a red flag for her. Now, there are a lot of perceived straight men right now who, from a reputation and criminal actionable standpoint, are making straight men look bad right now, right? And it's become sort of a political talking point and a call to cultural reversion into making a country great again, so to speak, and women knowing their place and not speaking so freely and expressing themselves, right? Even though they may be being harmed in a criminal fashion. So Doechii speaking about this in a joking way in this clip, put her, I think, on a lot of people's radar, right? Because the powerful people who are so far skating alleged criminal behavior towards females have a legion of sort of minions in media and somehow in hip hop media carrying along these weird misogynistic talking points, right? And a lot of that has been pointed directly at Doechii, the whole Aiden Ross situation, and there has been many others. Let's play a short montage here.
Are the most Matrix. It's the most Matrix. See, even my baby agree. Like, it's the most Matrix music out. Like, if there was a album for the Matrix, like the society that the people created, it would be Doechii. It would be. She makes Matrix music, like for the Matrix.
Pushing the agenda after she signed the contract. Look at the comments. Did she lie though? Always the single baby mamas. Y'all, I just sat up here and I told y'all, industry plants is normally people who start agendas. So Doechii is 100% a fucking plant, bro. She's a fucking plant. She came out of nowhere with no background, no track record. And now you talking about you hate straight men? What you trying to push to the women then? No wonder niggas don't like you.
So first things first, she came out of nowhere. We're going to start with the last clip and then we'll walk back. So I did this yesterday in part 1 for Kendrick. Here's Doechii's first video. Now Doechii has a much more extensive coverage of her grind to stardom now, right? This is back in January of 2015. Now for context, that is before To Pimp a Butterfly was released, right? So this young lady has been performing on YouTube and working on her craft since then, right? And has finally popped in 2024. So her being queer and representing that throughout her music and making the joke about straight males and her presentation, though it may bother some, is on brand for her generation and how she came up. If you go through social media and the internet, it is not uncommon to see what Doechii freely expresses as herself, right? And what she is, who she is, what she is, and what she's into. Why is it such a problem? Well, let's get to the influence part. And this video here, which is on her YouTube channel, recorded in 2019, it is a live representation and version of the song Anxiety, which is a smash crossover hit that this young lady made in her bedroom. And as you can see, she is not only musically talented, but she's also showing some skills as a videographer. She has the freedom to think that she can do anything that she puts her mind to creatively. Wow, what audacity, right? Oh boy. Anyway, so when we go back to her being a little dark-skinned girl to some people, she's not supposed to think, due to programming, that she is capable of such things so easily and confidently, and it catch on without the blessing of the powers that be, so to speak, right? And that's what kind of happened with Doechii. TDE releases a mixtape. They shoot a video, Nissan Altima. The video does okay. It doesn't do great. But like most star musicians do, when she released her first project, that mixtape, or her best project to that date, the mixtape, people saying, did you hear the Doechii? Did you hear the Doechii? It spread throughout social media. The music was incredible, and she was off to the races. This is from 2015 to 2024, 9 years in the making. And up and through this time, she has had other records that did pretty well. One of them I can't think of off the top of my head, but it was a song that a lot of the young ladies used in their social media with TikTok dances and things like that. And if she didn't express real feelings, real connection, intelligence in her music, and also ratchetness as well, I don't think there would be a problem with Doechii on the creative front. But if we look at this image here, right? Is there an obvious split in this image in your mind? Well, here, I'll make it easy. I'll create the split for you. Now, most people would look at this split and see it as, well, it's natural, right? The top 4 MCs are more lyrical and they're more serious, and the bottom 4 make more party music and more quote unquote ratchet music, correct? But honestly, what I have in the middle there, conquer through indoctrination of separation. Now, though music can, and in some cases should, be separated through preference and style, genre, etc., it doesn't mean that you can't like both. It doesn't mean that these two lines of MCs can't be brought together. And I think Doechii as an artist does that. She's all of this in one package. That, to some people who want to conquer through the indoctrination of separation, is dangerous. But I'm sure most of fans of hip hop, and especially of females in hip hop, are fans of the women on both the top and the bottom of this picture, right? But enter the agitator, as I would like to call her now, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj has a history of not getting along with any other female MCs, at least not for a very long time. And now we see that Nicki Minaj is, for lack of a better term, has been probably this whole time somewhat of an industry plant, right? However, the influence of Nicki Minaj is all over Doechii's presentation. I see Doechii as a combination of these two artists when I look at her possibilities as an artist. Now, I know this is a big statement. I'm not trying to put pressure on her or anything like that, but I'm using these two artists in this image for a reason, right? Earlier, I talked about the word possess. And for the females, for sure, who are fans of these two ladies, they know exactly what these album covers represent. They represent Sasha Fierce and Roman, aka Roman Reloaded, right? These are the alter egos of one Beyonce and Nicki Minaj when they are possessed. I told you that word would mean something. Here we go. Now I'm going to play a clip of Beyonce and Nicki explaining their alter egos. Let's take a listen. I'm just gonna play the audio, of course, with a picture. Let's take a listen, and then I'll get back to why this can be a problem. Let's take a listen.
Sasha.
Who is Sasha Fierce? I am Sasha Fierce. When I'm performing, it's a completely different person. A woman that's fearless and confident. And we kind of named that alter ego years ago. So if you want to dance and go out with your girls and feel like this strong diva, you have Sasha Fierce. And I also wanted my fans to get a better feel for who I am. So I named half of it I Am. And it's beautiful ballads. And if you're in a relationship or if you feel vulnerable, you can listen to I Am.
Because, I've had some...
is a crazy boy who lives in me. And he says the things that I don't want to say. He was born, just a few months ago. I think he was born out of rage. He was conceived in rage. So he bashes everyone. He threatens to beat people, and he's violent. He wants to be blamed. I don't want to blame him. I ask him to leave, but he can't. He's here for a reason. People have brought him out. People conjured him up. Now he won't leave.
Now, Nicki's version of that was obviously a lot crazier than Beyonce's, but they are one and the same. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, why would a woman, a black woman, have to become something or somebody else to express what is already inside of her? Whether that be confidence, whether that be anger, why do you have to be possessed? Let's think about the definition again. In order to freely express yourself, right? Where does that influence to be possessed come from? Or to have to be something different come from? Yes, I am trying to get a little deep here. Now, both of these ideas, I'm sure, just came from marketing plans for the albums, right? Somebody came up with these ideas. I would think that Nicki's team probably came up with a different version of what Beyonce's team had already come up with the Sasha Fierce album and the idea, right? Maybe Beyonce had this idea and they fleshed it out to this. Here's the thing. When you see occult symbolism in music and represented by artists, you know, people flash the magazines with the OK symbol over the eye and things like that, right? The 3 6s and all of those things, right? All those occult symbols that most of those people don't know what any of that stuff means. Let's just be honest. Most of these artists don't know what that stuff means. The person tells you to pose like this and you do it, right? Because people like this, that's on the screen here, Marina, whatever her name is, right? Who appeared in this video with Jay-Z, are, in my opinion, a little crazy, right? And purposefully so. I don't mean that they don't have their faculties. I mean that they believe in things that are counterproductive in my estimation and in a lot of people's estimation, right? But the question is, why would they want to influence artists? Shout out to Jay-Z. Well, because these artists have a natural influence. Let's go back to that influence definition for 1 second. Number 1, a power affecting a person, thing, or course of events, especially one that operates without any direct or apparent effort, right? So if you have a talent in music, it doesn't take a lot of, you don't have to force people to like your music unless you do so through the marketing that it takes for an industry plan, right? A person who doesn't have the natural talent to attract people, a person who can't make a video in their bedroom, a hit song in their bedroom that people resonate with, right? And that can become a hit song across demographics, across race, religion, creed, whatever, gender, whatever. I like the song. I like the record, Anxiety. It's not totally relatable to me from, you know, I don't understand the female perspective, but I understand the male perspective of that and what she's talking about as far as being stressed and dealing with anxiety, right? This is dangerous to people who want to influence under what is definition 2, which is the power to sway or affect based on prestige, wealth, ability, or position. Let's put the little dirtbag dude, the straight males up here again, right? I had to catch myself. But Doechii, in my opinion, is not successful enough. Now, she won Billboard Woman of the Year, right? Again, because she has that influence. So if one side is against her, then the other side would try to use her influence where they find common ground at, right? Things that they would like to push over things that they wouldn't, right? Which is why the straight man thing, which was a lighthearted joke, became such a trigger for the opposite side, right? Because they feel like the other side is using this as a tool to try to influence young women to not fall for being taken advantage of one way or another. Now let's switch back to Kendrick Lamar for a second, right? And the Grammy-winning song Chains and Whips, the clip song Chains and Whips featuring Kendrick Lamar. There's a verse in there where he says, "Gentlemen and gangsters connect, this agenda of mine in the gene scheme," right? We have to remember that Def Jam, by way of Universal, told the Clips, take him off that record, allegedly due to the PR look it would have with Kendrick and Drake having Kendrick and Pusha having issues with Drake and how that would look. But it couldn't have looked too good if you remember in the 2025 Grammys of Lucian high-fiving Dr. Dre with Not Like Us won Record of the Year or Song of the Year. I can't remember which one, where they were high-fiving each other in the front row of the Grammys. That couldn't have looked too good, right? So seeing that they didn't rap about Drake or throw any subs at Drake at all in Chains and Whips, why did Kendrick need to be removed from the record? Well, I did a lyrics explained on Kendrick's verse and the whole record. And the messaging of the record is probably problematic to some people. I'll let you guess who. So if we look at the current climate in the country and in other parts of the world, there's something that has happened to people, right? People have chosen or been influenced to make decisions against their own personal well-being, right? And I'm not going to get too political here, but you see people who voted for their own quote unquote oppression. Their words, not mine, right? So when you see, or when we as listeners praise music that maybe doesn't give us the best influence in messaging, right? Maybe leads you down the path of considering a life of criminality or trying to be a tougher person than you actually are, or trying to behave in a way that is detrimental to your future and maybe even your physical health, right? When you think it's okay to be a drug addict, it's okay to try to be a thug, even though I'm not from the circumstances of such that would lead me to want to do the things that a thug or a gangster would have to do, not choose to do. Very different lifestyle. When people see somebody like Lefty Gunplay be humble and gracious at the Grammys and say, oh, did you see him? Well, that's somebody who is a real person, right? And who's really been through real issues. When you hear somebody like Glasses Malone say that they're going to stand on their principle and they're not afraid of the so-called consequences because they are intelligent enough to know before they spoke what the consequences could be. They've already considered, they understand, and they still see the bigger picture. And then you see the influence that both of those gentlemen have had thus far. Very positive influence, right? Because it's coming from a real place. And when artists come from a real place, first of all, have a real place to come from, but then come from a real place, it's dangerous. So what has happened now is they try to flip the narrative, like many people bought into in the election, and they try to paint them as the opposite of what they are, so that you think that their music is going to do the opposite of what it could do for you. And it's really all that simple. A lot of times we overestimate people in quote unquote power as though they are some kind of super connected, or some people call them alien, all this nonsense. They're just regular people, okay? And it's not one big wide web of people working together most of the time. There are independent groups that are very serious about their agendas though. And they do work at those agendas tirelessly, like insane people. Not saying that they're insane, shout out to them, whoever they are. But you be the judge, right? But we must always remember that there's strength in numbers, and that is a universal law. So in closing, that's all I got. We got to really get into supporting our artists early before the attacks start. Like, one thing I forgot to say, if Doechii, if you hear this, Doechii, or fans of Doechii, you know, she's active on social media and all of that. If she comes up with a possessed alter ego or something like that, everybody tell her, cut it out. Don't do that. Stop it. Doechii can be many things as Doechii. You don't need a alter ego to express yourself. You have the freedom to do so as a strong, independent Black woman. And that's all I got for this one, man. Let me know what you think in the comments below, man. Hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button yet. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Share this video, tell a friend and tell a friend. If you are on mobile, swipe left on the comments, hit that hype button for me. Help boost the channel in the algorithm and get it suggested to more people. As always, thank y'all for watching, and we out.